Welcome to Buzzed and Baffled, the podcast where the wine is flowing, the stories get weird, and we try our best to keep the chaos to a minimum. Try being the keyword.
Before we jump in, a quick behind-the-scenes truth. Producing the show is basically an Olympic sport. Between being the media manager, the sound engineer, the editor, and trying to control her own voice volume, which, let's be honest, Nicole's has the natural power of a small megaphone, things can get a little unpredictable. So if you hear the occasional mic spike, just know it's not your headphones. It's Nicole living her best and loudest life.
Disclaimer, we're not experts. Just two curious humans with wine in hand and an enthusiasm for the bizarre. Some topics may be dark, sensitive, or downright strange, so listener discretion is advised. And remember, everything you hear is for entertainment only, so take the story seriously, just not too seriously.
And any opinions shared on this podcast are our own and not reflective of any third party.
Now, pour a glass, settle in, and get ready to be buzzed and baffled. She's struggling, guys. Well, she's got to get comfy because we're going to be talking about some of her favorite things.
Yeah, you know I gotta be comfortable to talk about my favorite things. Make sure this is down so you don't make fun of me.
So which of your, are we talking about sodomy or like child labor? Or like, what are we talking about today?
A little column A, a little column B. You know.
She likes to sprinkle all her favorite things.
Yeah,
in.
all my favorite things. Talk about the wine. People already know about it, but not on our fancy mics, so maybe they didn't hear.
Because I may have been crunching my
Pretzels when I was talking about it last time. You hear the bag rustling and you're like...
I was so drunk and like I needed some food.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're talking about the topic we're talking about, I chose this one because it seemed like an elitist white wine, and I seemed like this was in line for the story. It's the Vermentino from last time, which is not what I called it, the winery, because I called it like Castillo de Amor.
Yeah, I don't know what you called it.
Armour.
Oh, yeah.
It's Castillo de Amorosa.
Yes. Do you remember what that meant? What Jacob Total Step meant?
Jacob, I'm sorry. Is it Castle of Love?
It is.
Okay, look at me.
We stand a bilingual queen.
See, Jacob, I did you proud. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, I'm talking about Nicole, not Jacob.
Yeah. Jacob is actually bilingual.
Yeah,
He's from
is.
like Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
So Vermentino is a lively, dry white wine with tropical aromas of guava, green melon, and citrus, complementing its bright acidity and subtle minerality on the finish. Traditionally grown in the Mediterranean regions, Vermentino is a food-friendly wine to pair with fresh oysters, bleh, seafood pastas, bleh, or grilled summer vegetables. Yum.
I'm going to do like a seafood boil.
Gross. Why would you do that?
Because it's delicious.
As long as you have like tofu for me somewhere.
Okay, you just get chicken. Bang Bang chicken.
I mean, the Bang Bang chicken tonight was very good.
Thank you.
Castillo de Amorosa is a medieval Tuscan-inspired castle winery nestled in the hills of Napa Valley. So if you go there, I hope you get Jacob as the tour guide because he was delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Got the little extra pours.
Yeah.
It does help when you buy a case of wine.
It does. And this is our case that actually just arrived today. That we ordered, that we talked about last time. And it was very chilled when it arrived, so all I had to do was throw it in the fridge.
It's 10 degrees outside. This is going to be better than the wine selection I made at the last pod that I did, than the 2009 Chardonnay.
This might be a step up. Also, these bottles are longer than our other bottles, so it almost didn't fit in the wine fridge. I had to they're like in there.
You're like cramming it in. I'd be like that also, like if it didn't fit in a wine fridge, I feel like that's something that they as a winery need to know, that like the wine fridges won't close. So what delightful story of your favorite things do you have for me today?
Well, we are going back to Napa and we're taking just a very short drive northwest-ish. The story came about sort of by chance as we were driving up through Sonoma on our way to the Russian River Brewery in Santa Rosa, California, which was like a 40-mile drive, about an
Mhm.
hour.
On the weirdest road system
Mhm.
I've ever driven on.
Yeah. It kinda reminded me of when you see someone get in a car accident in a movie.
Uh-huh. I was like, "Is this where James Dean died?" Because it
Yeah,
seems like maybe.
yeah. There's no shoulder. It's like a white line is the end of the pavement, and
And
there's
then it's like a drainage ditch.
Mhm. Yeah, no shoulder. If you get too close, your car's going in.
Yep.
And there were no guardrails in a lot of places. Some places were, only a foot or 2 down, but some were pretty down there.
I would not take that road again. I'd be like, "No, thanks, Google. I
Mhm.
don't like this."
But as we were going, we passed through a series of buildings, kinda like a little compound, that looked a little bit shabby, um,
Abandoned.
yeah, abandoned, but not super old abandoned.
We were like, "Well, this is weird. Like, is
Mhm.
this, like, seasonal worker housing and there's
Yeah,
just not
because they
anyone
weren't
in there
falling
right now?"
down, but you could tell, like, there was cobwebs in the windows and the grass hadn't been cut.
But as we got further in, we're like, "Oh, this looks a little more institutional
Mhm.
than just, like, seasonal housing."
Yeah, so we definitely thought that was my first thought was it was, for seasonal workers who would come in the summertime for the grape harvest,
Mhm,
and maybe there's, like, whoever was hiring them didn't get around to mowing the grass because, I
mhm.
mean, it was mid-February. But after a quick Google search on Google Maps to find out where we were, I found the complex was once the Sonoma Developmental Center. As I scrolled through the Wikipedia article, the story unfolded, and it wasn't great.
Kyla's favorite things. I heard Ben sing a song about this.
I immediately proclaimed that I was going to do a pod.
I was driving, so I couldn't look it up, so she's like, "Claimed it."
The entity existed previously in other areas nearby since 1883, but opened at the current location on November 21st, 1891.
Okay.
The
So,
ho-
like, a long
yeah,
ways back.
mhm,
But this is like a state hospital kinda scenario.
correct. It was founded by Dr. Antrim Osborne, who ran it with his wife. It was
Is
previ-
that him up there?
Nope.
Okay.
It was previously called, and I shit you not, this is so bad. Just so people know, this is history. This is not me.
I was like, "Say it,
None
Kyla."
of this is my opinion. The California Home for the Care and Training of Feeble-Minded Children.
I don't want you to know this, but I secretly went here in my previous life. Like, this is where I was raised.
And that's what it was called until 1909.
Oh, that seems like really late to be called the feeble-minded
Mhm.
children's school.
When it was renamed the Sonoma State Home. Another name change occurred in 1953 to Sonoma State Hospital, which seems worse than Sonoma State Home.
Mhm.
I would think those would be flipped.
I'm actually surprised it was open until the 50s.
Oh, it's open much later than that.
Oh, no.
And finally named the Sonoma Developmental Center in 1986.
So they were trying to make it less terrible
Mhm.
and pretend all the bad things didn't
Yep.
happen.
And I believe all the state hospitals were changed to developmental centers probably around the same time.
Well,
Um,
because this is around the time that they started closing down in the
yes.
80s, a lot
Mhm.
of things, because they're like, "Oh, everyone's getting abused. Like, we can't keep these open."
Mhm. There were a few other state hospitals mentioned in the article, and they were all such and such developmental center. So it was
Mhm.
probably a statewide shift to that
Mhm.
terminology.
And you may not know this because it may not have said in the research, but I'm guessing that it wasn't just people who had developmental disabilities. I'm guessing it was also people with mental illness that were
Correct.
probably here, or husbands who just didn't want to be around their wives anymore in the 1800s.
That could have been part of it, but and I'll talk
David
about
would
it a
have
little bit more.
sent you and me to the
Mhm.
state hospital for feeble-minded children.
Yes. In 1902, the governor of California, Henry Gage, ordered an investigation into the hospital and its superintendent, Dr. William Lawler, on the basis of reports by supervisors at the hospital, stating that there were cruel treatments of residents, including children.
What
So,
year was this?
1902. So
You
it's
have
still the feeble-minded
But
hospital.
I'm also thinking, like, in order for staff who were very much of the shut up and keep your job generation, how bad was it that they're like, absolutely not? Someone has to know what's happening here.
I'm about to tell you.
Ooh, is this a
Yes. There are allegations that patients were held in solitary confinement, locked in dark cells, and fed only bread and water. Or, as the newspaper put it, again, these are not my words, depriving idiots of food or imprisoning an imbecile.
you do this to me like every weekend.
Yes, I just locked you in this pod room. The investigator assigned was Dr. Frederick W. Hatch III, and that's him up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was
So
the
is he the hero of the story?
no.
Oh, okay.
He was the general superintendent of state hospitals in California.
Well, you shouldn't have the superintendent of state hospitals investigating state hospitals.
Sure.
You need little checks and balances here. They need that lady who went to the state hospitals.
Oh, Nellie
undercover.
Bly.
They
Mhm.
need her.
He also presided, he was the chairman of, and this is a real name of this, the California State Lunacy Commission.
I can't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I know there's worse things in here, but this is a lot of property in California. Not a single person has bought it
Mm-hmm.
and tried to turn it into something.
Mm-hmm.
It's haunted as fuck.
Mm-hmm. The governor's order read, and this is a quote, I found one of the newspapers that I'll talk about posted the exact wording of what the governor ordered Dr. Hatch to do. Quote, please take with you Dr. Young of the Stockton Asylum or any other physician of different political faith than myself. Make investigation and report to me immediately whether Dr. Lawler or anybody else at Glen Ellen, and that's the village it's in,
Yeah.
has been guilty of improper or cruel treatment towards any of the inmates at that institution.
Also, they were inmates, not patients.
Mm-hmm. Any physician or employee guilty of any sort of unkindness towards the unfortunate inmates of state institutions must be and shall be summarily dismissed. End quote.
So, based on everything I've learned about anyone in power in California, it's never great
No.
at that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I do appreciate that he's make sure that there's someone who has opposing views as me
Mm-hmm.
so that there's checks and balances,
Yep.
or at least the appearance of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Lawler, who was in charge of this hospital, was appointed by Governor Gage himself to run the institution.
Mm.
Uh-huh. And that he was appointed after an 18-year stint by the founder, Dr. Osborne. No reason was ever given for dismissing Osborne, but Lawler's appointment was contentious, particularly because it appeared that Osborne and his wife ran the facility quite well.
That's interesting because he founded it.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you it was a money grab. It's always a money grab.
Some believed it was political, and the San Francisco Examiner commended Governor Gage for not only initiating the investigation against his own appointee, but gave him extra praise if it was in fact politics that resulted in his appointment in the first place.
Well, of course it was politics. Because, if everything's going well and they're having, what I'm assuming for the time, which is still not great,
Mm-hmm.
but no one's, calling in the popo.
Yeah.
That it's, oh, we see a way to make money here.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, I imagine that's not, a career jump that a lot of people, you know what I want to run? A destitute home for the mentally impaired.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of Podunk, California,
Mm-hmm.
because it was rural.
Yes, it was very rural. And at the time, it would have been surrounded by just farm.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors Hatch and Young were highly lauded by the newspaper. Both were esteemed alienists. Do you know what an alienist is?
I know what I want to say, and I know it's going to be wrong. Is it alienist someone who believes in Martians?
I mean, today probably, but that's what they actually used to call criminal psychiatrists, were alienists.
Oh.
And there's a show, I think it's
I
on
was going to say,
Netflix,
there was a
called
show.
The Alienist.
But he was a con man who would read people and pretend he was giving readings for a long time. And then the FBI hired him.
Mm-hmm.
Lana just got a cuff to the face.
Yeah, Lana's sitting here panting at me.
Poor abused Lana.
Go lie down. So they were forensic what we would call forensic psychiatrists now, and they were of the highest integrity. It should be noted that at that time, the San Francisco Examiner newspaper was owned by William Randolph Hearst,
Oh,
noted proponent of sensationalist headlines and yellow journalism, and probably that's why he said so many nice things about the
is
governor.
that the father of like Patty Hearst?
I think that's her grandfather.
Okay. Are
I
they
think.
related to the Hams at all?
I don't know what hams.
Good old Ernie Ham, the cannibalist.
Arnie Ham,
Arnie Ham,
Army Hammer,
Army Hammer.
Arnie Ham. As soon as you said that, I knew that's what you were getting at, but I really wanted you to just get there yourself.
Nope.
I'm gonna let you think on that for a second while I kick Lana out.
Well, I do think, though, based on everything on the Epstein files, maybe we need to revisit Ernie Ham and the cannibalism because perhaps there's something more to be looked at.
Good old Arnie Ham.
I'm going to completely erase him from history on my paw.
Yeah, he's not going to call us anymore because he was going to call us and be on our pod.
Yep. I want him to show up dressed in that one horrible picture with like the porn star mustache and the dirty goatee and everything.
Moving on from Arnie Ham, also known as Army Hammer.
Well, I mean, history needs to forget him because he's
Yeah.
a terrible human being.
Doctors Hatch and Young's investigation centered around records kept by a Mrs. L.A. Thompson, who worked as an orderly at the hospital, which I thought was a little unusual for a female, but if you're in a rural area...
You're rural. Also, if you're unmarried, you can be that or like a school teacher, or she could have been a nun.
She was a Mrs.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's what I thought. And that she was an orderly versus a nurse.
Yeah.
Typically you would see, but who knows?
Well, maybe her husband was like higher up in the administration
Maybe.
there or something. But she narked on everyone. She's like,
Mhm.
absolutely not.
She recorded patient names and punishments of up to 13 days in a dark, solitary cell with only bread and water given to some patients. She also noted that Dr. Lawler ordered that the bread provided had, quote, plenty of crust.
Why?
His reasoning was that prisoners at San Quentin prison would work harder for bread with more crust because it contained more oil, which makes no sense.
I mean, like, I've made a lot of bread, and it's not like there's oil in bread.
I know. This guy doesn't have a clue what's going on. Another employee told Hatch that he was explicitly instructed by Lawler to deny any such punishments had ever occurred at the hospital. There was also a report of putting a young girl in, and they call it a camisole, but that's like a straitjacket.
Okay.
Not quite a straitjacket, but something similar.
Something that ties your arms and restricts your movement.
Mhm. And they would restrain her in a bed with her arms and legs tied to posts for 24 hours. Lawler was removed from his position after this investigation.
Well, he should be, because also there's probably sexual abuse just like rampant in this place.
Dr. Hatch would later be criticized for his delayed response to the 1906 San Francisco earthquake and fires. 117 patients and staff at the Sonoma Developmental Center, which he also oversaw because he was superintendent of all hospitals in California, were killed.
But this is a different hospital.
Different hospital.
Okay. Still not running great.
He was also instrumental in enacting the 1909 Asexualization Act, making California the third state to conduct forced sterilizations.
Okay, I might hate this more than the Mormon story. You're coming for my crown of worst stories, aren't you?
In his capacity as superintendent of the state hospitals, he used the act to hire other administrators and create policies in favor of eugenics, with sterilizations aimed at those in institutions, mental or penal.
I imagine, I don't know the exact surgical process they used for this, but I imagine it wasn't humane or comfortable.
Mm-mm. So he's a noted eugenicist. He's using this act as a way to hire other eugenicists and put them in these positions of power throughout the California state hospital system.
It's almost like if someone were to want to make a new surgeon general who never had a medical license,
Perhaps.
and has never practiced because they couldn't pass the test.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page.
Mhm.
Or
The
you hire Dr. Oz
Yeah.
to do
Dr.
something.
Oz. The act required the permission of 2 of 3 people to perform a forced sterilization. One was the superintendent of the hospital itself,
Mm-hmm.
the state superintendent, which was Dr. Hatch,
But they're both just signing off because they believe
Mhm.
in this.
or the secretary of the state board of health. So as long as 2 of those 3 people agreed, forced sterilization could happen.
So what I'm hearing though is none of them were the doctors working with the patients at the
No.
time.
Mm-mm.
Do you think that they did this so that there weren't as many births in the hospital from sexual assaults?
No, I think it was well, can't say strictly, but they wanted to reduce the number or chance that they were eugenicists, so they wanted to remove these quote
But
unquote
if these people and these patients are just like hanging out and like not sexually active or interested, there's only one way
Mhm.
that they would be reproducing.
Mhm.
And it's if they were sexually assaulted.
Mhm. And I'm gonna get to that.
Oh, good. I don't even know how to add that to your list of favorite things.
Oh my god, please do not start telling people I'm a eugenicist.
Get you a shirt.
Jeez, please do not.
But it's going to say Eugene on it.
Oh my god.
You're never running for office.
Not anymore. Because he was a eugenicist and put other eugenicists in similar administrative positions, he was not likely to encounter much resistance to forced sterilization of patients.
Well, yeah, because you get yes men around you, and then stupid things like bombing Iran happens.
Yeah. There are estimates that during his tenure as state superintendent, 3,000 patients in state hospitals were sterilized, including at the Sonoma Development Center.
Wait, how many?
3,000.
That's actually much lower than I thought it was.
There was a shitload during the time that it happened, like from when it was
Yeah.
authorized to when it was repealed,
Mm.
but just during when he was superintendent.
I think we need to get a picture of him and we can put it up next to our mushroom lady.
Yeah, we need a wall of shame.
Mm-hmm. We can put it under David the Wolf pictures.
Okay. It's already started as a wall of shame.
Yeah. We had to move some of David's swimming medals today, and he's like, "Oh, just one more thing." Just one more thing of his removed from the room.
Well, if he listened to the pod, he wouldn't have to remove his stuff from the room.
Because he'd be part of the pod.
Mm-hmm.
He was offered to come in.
He's not a friend of the pod, so he doesn't get anything in the pod room.
Nope.
In 1918, dozens of patients died during the Spanish influenza outbreak. Also that year, Dr. F.O. Butler was appointed superintendent of the hospital.
And that was after this jacknut was removed.
Yes. So
Okay.
Lawler was removed in 1902. They have people in between.
Was he a eugenist like the other
I don't
ones?
think so, but
Okay.
I could not find anything about him. I couldn't even find the explicit report because I was looking at just what the newspaper was reporting on because there's no records that I have access to.
I wonder if it's like in a legal court document somewhere, but it's from the 1800s, so it's early 1900s, so it's just like lost.
And I know the Sonoma Development Center has records and stuff, but you have to go there.
I bet you could email them and ask for it.
I don't know because I don't know what the laws are, especially now that it's closed.
Oh yeah.
But like Dr. Hatch, Dr. Butler was a proponent of forced sterilization and performed thousands of them himself.
Like he himself went down to do them?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like extra trigger happy.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds great.
In addition to sterilizing patients at the hospital, the SDC, the Sonoma Development Corporation, used a legal loophole to sterilize those outside the mental health system by admitting them as patients, sterilizing them, and discharging them.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much worse than your Mormon story. You're going to get my crown for a little bit, but I'm taking it back.
So if there's people in the community who don't qualify or aren't at this hospital for some reason, you could just bring them there. They would admit them for a day or whatever, do the surgery and discharge them because as long as they were admitted, they were and they had 2 of those 3 people to agree, they were eligible for sterilization.
Not sketchy as shit at all.
No. And, I forgot to mark it
But
down.
this was also like, because Medicare and Medicaid wasn't a thing
No.
then. So, like, were they doing it just for love of the game? Or was there, like, money involved?
I think it was all just to, like, push ahead their eugenics agenda.
Because I do think, like, this costs money, so they had to be losing money on that.
Mhm. And you have to they want a perfect white race, so you can probably guess
Oh,
why
which people were
Uh-huh.
brought in.
Mhm.
I hadn't even considered racism. Thank you, Kyla. That gives it a little extra flavor. Here I am, just like tottering along, thinking they just hated
Yeah.
handicapped people, but they're also racist.
Yes, surprise, surprise.
So Kyla loves racism.
Oh my god, Nicole, shut up. I do not.
Kyla doesn't love racism.
Retract. It's alleged that the SDC sterilized more people than anywhere else in the world.
Jesus. Wait. Are they including like prison camps in Germany?
I don't think so.
Because like they sterilized a lot of people.
Um,
Like the
I
Holocaust.
so I think they're probably talking about like in a hospital, like
Okay.
an institutional scenario.
Okay.
I think, but I don't know for sure. And I forgot to write down the total number of people who were sterilized in California. We'll have to get it and I'll put it in the show notes. But by the 1960s, forced sterilization had largely stopped, but the law wasn't fully repealed until 1979.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And is that a nationwide repeal or a California repeal?
That was a California repeal.
Get it together.
70 years it was on the
I'm
books.
gonna look up Michigan.
I don't know if Michigan ever had a forced sterilization law,
Well,
but
Google
we
it.
can look.
Did Michigan ever have a forced sterilization law?
We should probably call up an expert on the Michigan mental health code. Uh-oh, the look on your face isn't good.
Well, Michigan State has a website where the start of the article is to rid society of imbeciles.
Oh, jeez.
Michigan enacts forced sterilization law timeline.
Okay, was it before? Were we 1 and 2?
1839, Ontario passed the act to authorize the erection of an asylum within the province, reception of insane a lunatic person. Okay, hold on. 1869, someone named Galton publishes Hereditary Genius.
Oh, gosh.
1871, Charles Darwin publishes The Descent of Man. This is Ontario, though, so this is Canada.
Mhm.
Let's look at Michigan eugenics.
And, like, obviously we would not have learned about this in school.
Yeah, like this is,
And I don't remember
this isn't making. Ooh, I was looking for the AI. I got bad news, Kyla.
What year?
Well, Michigan was a pioneer in American eugenics, initiating sterilization advocacy in the late 19th century. Although an early 1897 bill failed, the state was central to the movement and aimed at controlling reproduction for those who deemed feeble-minded or disabled, reflecting a broader U.S. trend toward institutionalization and sterilization.
Does it say Michigan was the first state? Oh, God damn it. I thought we were like maybe going to be safe since California was third.
Nope.
God damn it.
In 1897, Michigan becomes the first U.S. state to introduce compulsory sterilization bill, although it fails to pass.
Oh, okay.
Late 19th and 20th century focused on separating intellectually disabled men and women in institutions to prevent breeding. Post 1907, following Indiana's success in passing the first sterilization law, Michigan and other states introduced the 1927 Buck versus Bell Supreme Court ruling and continued to push for eugenic sterilization policies.
Okay, so I think it sounds like Indiana was first, some other state was second, and then California, and then other states
But
came
we
after.
were the first to introduce
Yeah,
it
that's
in Michigan.
God damn it.
But it didn't pass. So, like in the 1920s, it passed, which is pretty late
That's so late.
compared to these other states.
Oof.
Yeah. Boo, Michigan.
Yeah. Although the practice of forced sterilization dwindled as the 20th century went on, and there was, I looked at, I think it said after maybe like 1960, only a total of 65 in the state of California occurred. That's still too many.
I was like, ooh, only 60?
Mhm.
That's still more than like 2 or 3 a month.
Yeah. But the horrors persisted. Teddy's barking right now.
I know, like,
So we're going to take it.
how does it get worse?
In 1952,
Oh, God, we're really late.
mhm,
Okay.
the Sonoma Index Tribune, which is the Sonoma newspaper, reported that 61 boys and girls at the hospital received a dose of live polio vaccine in their chocolate milk, being told it was an extra treat. So they are doing medical experimentation.
It's like when they did it in African American people to see what would
Mhm.
happen. These people are monsters.
The article says that their parents had given consent to have their children experimented upon. Sure, Jan.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
These kids had no parents.
Yeah, their parents were not
They were wards of the state.
involved in their lives. In the 1990s, a teenage boy was found injured and bleeding in a facility shower.
The 1990s?
1990s, not 1990, after I was born already.
Like, I was a teenager. I was getting ready to graduate high school pretty
Mhm.
soon.
This incident sparked a class action lawsuit, resulting in many patients leaving hospital settings and returning to their communities for care. But over 800 people remained at the SDC.
Because this is well after deinstitutionalization
Mhm.
happened. So how did this jack show manage to keep running? There must have been a lot of money involved
Mhm.
and a lot of lobbyists.
In 1999,
Jesus Christ. Ah!
one patient overdosed on antidepressants at the facility.
So they attempted suicide.
The manner of death was not determined.
It was overdose.
Well, they don't know if it was homicide due to neglect. They don't know if it was an accident. They don't know if it was suicide. But the facility was cited for failure to prevent harm. Another patient died of an opiate overdose that year.
They're just like handing out pills willy nilly, like the med cars just like left wide
I
open.
don't know. Also in 1999, the Index Tribune conducted an investigation, and they reported, quote, the facility had hired inadequately trained, underqualified, unsupervised investigators, that site administrators were called into incident scenes before investigators arrived, and that a conflict of interest existed because investigators were employed by the same facility they were supposed to investigate.
So I have oversight questions. And like, I know you don't know the answer to this, but in Michigan, nursing homes have oversight. And anytime something bad happens, like 9 people come swarming in and like tear your charts apart and look at what's going on. In hospitals, we have JACO, who like is not as good, but still is supposed to tear shit apart.
Mhm.
Were they just like, whatever, we just like send one like janitor in to like look at things
Yeah,
in these
it's
hospitals?
I'll finish this quote and then I'll go back to it. Some employees within the facility indicated that many incidents were never reported, in part because staff members were afraid of retaliation, end quote. It's very much like
The cone of silence.
yeah, I think it was Boeing investigating, using their own investigators.
Like, how did this window get sucked
Mhm.
out of our airplane? We're going to investigate
Yeah, so-
ourselves.
And, these investigators are coming to the scene after admin's already there cleaning things up.
Not dirty at all.
No. In the year 2000,
Ah.
the facility received 15 citations from the state, resulting in $142,000 in fines.
That's not a very high number of citations that I think they should get. Like, most facilities get like 10, and it's like, your milk isn't to temp or something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah. Well, these are a little worse.
Okay.
The citations included one instance of the sexual assault of a patient.
Only one. I feel like that's okay.
Well, that's all that was
Provable.
and 2 occurrences of staff members hitting patients. These citations and the subsequent investigations into the facility resulted in a loss of certification of some of the units. They had different units.
Because they weren't eligible, I'm assuming, for Medicaid at that point. Angel, if she listens to this, is like, yeah, girl, they lost their Medicaid
Yeah,
status.
They had, they had different units, of course. They had low level, intermediate, different areas of care. Loss of certification in some units and federal funding being partially pulled from the facility related to those units at a loss of $3 million in revenue per month.
I'm kind of glad we didn't stop to look for a winery right in this town, because I'm starting to guess, because everyone living around there worked there, and I don't think it would have been my flavor.
In 2001, 5 staffers were accused of holding beatdown parties where they would choose a resident and just assault him or her.
Oh, I thought they were going to make him Fight Club it, but they
maybe they did that.
Yeah.
There were also reports of patients being slapped and humiliated by employees. Later that year, legislation was enacted requiring developmental centers to report all deaths and injuries of unknown origin to law enforcement. You should have been doing that already.
Yeah, all deaths should have been reported from the time you opened in the 1800s until now. It's not just like, whoopsie, nobody knows. All deaths should be reported.
And really all injuries. I mean, unless it was something where you saw maybe a patient slipped and fell.
Yeah.
Something that was clear, but
mysteries of unknown origin, which I think death is a mystery of unknown origin. You need
Why are you not
that.
reporting deaths to law enforcement?
Or at least to the courthouses,
like the
or like
health
people
department
who
or
record
something.
this.
Yeah,
like somebody died, because if everyone, especially at the turn of the century, like TB was a thing. If you were like rampant with tuberculosis, the health department should know that.
In 2002, 14-year-old resident Nicholas Turley collapsed at the facility and died 2 days later at an outside hospital. His autopsy results showed that he died of an overdose of phenobarbital. His blood contained twice the level of what is considered safe. The coroner stated, quote, "It's hard to get that level in a person's system. Phenobarbital is slow to uptake and slow to release. Administered twice a day, as in Turley's case, it should balance out to about 35 milligrams per liter. Natural, homicide, accident, suicide. We don't have enough to pin it on any of those 4, so it could not be determined," end quote.
He was getting much worse. They were trying to snow him. They were trying to B-52 him, and he was probably...
Nobody was paying attention about who was getting what meds, and they gave him a double dose.
Well, they didn't have a MAR where, like, you have to check off what meds you're giving to people. They're just, like, willy-nilly handing pills out of bottles.
The investigation was closed without any action.
I can't take this.
And, I think because he had twice, what is the level that's safe? If
this is a long-standing thing. This isn't like a one-time thing. And it built up in his system.
Yeah, and if it's a suicide attempt, you're taking like a whole huge handful. You're going to have more than twice.
Yep.
Twice if you're because if you're taking it twice a day and it's 35 and the safe limit is 70, that's double.
Yeah.
They're double dosing him throughout the day.
They're like, oh, he's a pain in the ass. We're just going to give him more because it slows him down.
In 2005, a 25-year-old resident was vomiting blood and later died at an outside hospital. Staff found a plastic dry mouth swab handle in his vomit. You know what I'm talking?
Like one of the sponges, because you can't have fluids.
Yes.
And so it keeps your mouth moist when you're on fluid restrictions.
Several other swabs were found in his mouth and had punctured his esophagus and aorta.
Oh, he bled out.
His autopsy report stated, quote, "The decedent's condition of quadriplegia with body and limb deformity related to cerebral palsy render him, in my opinion, very unlikely to have introduced the swabs himself," end quote. So they're just chucking them in his mouth.
And walking away, and then he aspirated on them.
It's alleged that a caregiver left the swabs in his mouth. The center was fined. How much do you think they were fined?
$15.
$90,000. But yeah, all they're doing is walking by, sticking another one in his mouth, and if he's got
Not
quadriplegia,
wondering where the last one
cerebral
went.
palsy, I mean, he can't
He can't do that. He
grab
can't,
them
yeah.
to get them out of his mouth. So,
He's just
and he
choking on
probably
them.
has, and this is just conjecture, but he probably has a swallowing disorder with.
He has aphasia.
Mhm.
Oh, this makes me want to punch so many people so hard.
In 2012,
Come on!
the director received an anonymous voicemail that a staffer was using. You're gonna.
Okay, hold on. I gotta put my headphones back on. My head fell back and my headphones fell off.
She was being very dramatic and lost her headphones. A staffer was using a stun gun on patients.
Okay. Yep.
The psychiatric technician who had worked there for 14 years was detained the next day, and a stun gun and loaded pistol were found in his car.
Is this like how Reagan went to court and talked about how he was a social work technician? He was so goddamn proud of it.
Probably.
God.
He was not arrested, only placed on administrative leave.
I mean, obviously, he wasn't having any consequences.
Additional investigation of patients in his care showed that 12 residents had injuries that were consistent with being tased. The little burn marks that you get from the probe. So it's not like
oh,
a
trust me,
taser,
I know what happens when you tase somebody.
Each of the patients had limited communication skills, but some were able to describe or say the word stun and the employee's name. The staffer was eventually fired, but was only ever charged with misdemeanor possession of a loaded handgun, receiving probation and a $190 fine. He was never charged with the stun gun attacks.
What's his name?
I didn't want to say it.
I mean, I feel like we should.
I mean, you can. It's on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I didn't want to give him any credence.
But I feel like maybe other people, because he's probably still alive.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
That fucker.
Also in 2012, it was brought to light that at least 12 sexual assaults at the facility were not investigated appropriately.
I bet you there was a lot more than 12.
Well, 12 were not investigated appropriately, and sexual assault examinations were not completed in some of the cases.
Well, because first of all, they shouldn't be done by the staff at the hospital. They should be done by a doctor in an ER and a nurse who's there to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it was. They didn't have like a sane nurse come in.
Yeah, you need someone who is not there to protect the facility.
Yeah, you need an outside person.
Mm-hmm.
One case involved male staffers being allowed to bathe a female patient even after complaints lodged by other employees.
So like some of the nurses went like, this isn't
okay.
Yeah,
like you can't have these male staffers bathing these female patients.
Like they're doing creepy shit. This can't happen.
Another employee was cleared of wrongdoing in one case, but went on to assault a second patient later.
Oh yeah, because he wasn't stopped.
Mm-hmm. A third case involved the lack of investigation into a patient's complaints. The patient was impregnated by a staff member and went on to give birth.
This is why they were sterilizing people, because people who are sterilized can't have babies from sexual assault.
The Intermediate Care Center of the facility had its license revoked that year and lost all Medicaid funding.
So up to this, they were just slightly penalized. This was the straw that broke the back.
Yep. In 2015.
Oh my God. Okay. So they lost their Medicaid funding, but they're still limping along somehow?
Yes. And
Do they still have Medicare and that's how they're limping?
Probably. And they also have other units that are still receiving funding.
Okay.
In 2015, a 63-year-old psychiatric technician was sentenced to 7 years in prison for ongoing sexual abuse of a disabled female over a year-long period. He was her direct caregiver and was charged with sexual intercourse with someone unable to consent, 2 counts of oral copulation, and 1 count of abuse of a dependent adult.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say his name either. It's disgusting. In 2018, the facility closed.
Okay. Like she just saw like my head's about to explode.
The facility closed on December 31st, 2018 after 127 years. The remaining 300 residents were moved to community-based care centers over the 3 years prior to the facility closing as part of a planned shutdown.
I bet you the guy who opened this to start with, and sounds like maybe at least for the time, was doing well
Mhm.
and caring, would roll over in his goddamn
Mhm.
grave.
At the time, it was the largest employer in the Sonoma Valley. In the early 50s, at its peak, there were as many as 3,200 residents with a waiting list of over 1,000.
Damn.
Yeah. Over 1,500 residents were buried on the grounds between 1892 and
How
1939.
many?
1,500
Jesus.
in a
And they're
period
all uninvestigated deaths because they weren't
in a
reporting
period
them.
of 47 years.
And do they have accurate records to show how many people were buried, or was it just like a pit they threw them in? Why do I
My
here?
literal next line and last line of this story is there are no grave markers.
Okay. Oops. Yep. So you get the temporary crown of worst story.
Yeah. And up on the board, I've got, of course, Dr. Hatch on the right there. In the middle, that's the hospital, like the actual hospital part of it.
That's where the sterilizations
Yes.
happened.
Or if somebody needed actual hospital care, because it was mostly a residential setting,
Because
but you still have a hospital
when
setting.
we were driving by, there's a couple of like administration looking
Yeah, and
buildings,
then,
but
like,
there was like a bunch of dormitory type buildings.
they were. I don't want to call them bunkhouses, but they were like dorm wings, and then that I think is the main. And we didn't see that I
That
remember.
I don't.
It must have been tucked back a little ways.
But also that could be from
It
2015.
could be from 20.
So
Could be from 2018.
that's after I graduated undergrad and my first grad school. So absolutely freaking not.
There you go. You're welcome.
So you get 1 week to hold,
And this one just came up completely by chance.
because I chose the wrong Google Map
Mm-hmm. Yep.
route.
Because I wanted to go drink some Pliny the Elder at Russian River Brewing.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's bad. I did not look at. I briefly looked at the Wikipedia page for the Agnews
Mhm.
Developmental Center, which is where the people died as a result of the earthquake and the fires. And it didn't look like that was any better. I didn't get into it
Well, no state home was really good.
because I was just like, well, it's not going to be any better.
They're all bad. There's a
Mhm.
reason they were all shut down.
Yeah. And there was an article I read. It was probably written in 2015, 2016, as they were requiring residents to move or have a plan to
Mhm.
be moved. And some people, a brother described bringing his sister there 50 years earlier
Mm.
for care, and she loved it there. And I think obviously things, I don't want to say got better. I think standards were raised, but also there's still so much stuff falling between the cracks.
I also think, though, you have to consider the person stating that they love it there. You have to consider their intellectual level
Oh, exactly.
and what they consider good,
Yeah. Hmm.
because it's a sliding scale, just like everything else.
Hmm. Yeah. If the best day of your life every day is going outside and in the sunshine and looking at butterflies, then you probably do love it there.
Or like if you enjoy crafts and you get to do
Mhm.
crafts every day, then you're
Yeah.
fine.
So I'm sure, like the orderly who kept the records and really was a whistleblower. I'm sure there were plenty of staff who were very caring and competent,
Mhm.
but there were
But there's also some bad eggs.
Yep.
Or some bad apples, maybe? Bad
either
apples?
one.
Yeah.
Bad grapes.
Yeah, bad grapes. But I can't imagine, like, being in my field. I mean, I can't imagine being in my field and working with someone who is harming people.
You don't have to imagine it.
I don't have to imagine it. I know exactly what it's like.
Mhm.
And, like, you're screaming that, like, you have to stop this person because something
Mhm.
bad is happening. Everyone's like, "Nope, it's fine. Let's keep plugging along."
Mhm. Yeah, and there's so much cover up and underhandedness, because
Well,
you
because
gotta
you have
get
to
those
think
sweet, sweet Medicaid dollars.
because this was the primary financial funding for an entire region.
Yeah.
So there's a lot at stake. So a
Mhm.
lot of people have incentive to turn a blind eye.
Yep. Yeah, if you're someone who maybe cuts the grass there or, mops the floors or something,
Well, people who lived
and that's your
around
livelihood.
in the Holocaust, people who lived around the concentration camps were like, "Oh, we didn't know what happened." I'm like, "There is no way you didn't know what
Yeah.
was happening."
Yeah, it puts them in a hard position to lose their livelihood.
Hmm.
That's a tough thing, but
But I think next week I'm going to take my crown back
We'll see.
because you have a story here about a bunch of people who did a bunch of bad things. I got one person
Who did a bunch of bad things.
who did a bunch, like across decades,
Ugh, of course.
did a bunch of really bad things.
Yeah. And
I got videos, I got quotations.
like I said, I couldn't find, I really wanted to see a report that Dr. Hatch created about his investigation.
I'm willing to bet if you.
I mean, I could probably like FOIA it or some shit like that, but also
Yeah.
that's a lot of work and I don't care that much. Like, I know the allegations were proven because he didn't have to be there very long.
But
And when he showed up to do his investigation, Dr. Lawler had fled.
Oh, that's never.
Yeah.
It's like the lady in Ishpeming in the nursing home who, when they were there to investigate the abuse, she was climbing out the window.
Yep, I forgot about that.
It's the exact same scenario. And that was right around 2018,
yep,
too.
Yep, it was. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah. How embarrassing. Ugh.
I hope Angel listens to this episode because this is 45.
45.
I'm telling Angel, you need to listen to 45.
Oh, yeah, she's worked in the San Francisco area with her travel stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe she's driven past here. Maybe she knows some people who've worked there.
Maybe.
That'd be interesting.
Angel, let me know. Give me the dirt.
The terroir.
The terroir. To the next pour and the next plot twist.